Welcome back to the Torque Test channel. We've been durability testing impact drivers. Well, more accurately, we've been simply testing and breaking a lot of impact driver half-inch socket adapters this past week or two because we felt there could be some improvement on testing out there that just break these for some reason by hand or with half-inch air impacts. And our testing has had an obvious knock-on effect of very much testing impact drivers those bits are made for. Over 200 dyno runs so far, and out of 24 of the top impact drivers on the market today we've used and tested throughout our channel, the Milwaukee M182953, their latest Gen 4 impact driver, is the least reliable and most prone to failure impact tool of any type Milwaukee makes today, from what we can tell by orders of magnitude. So we're going to go over how that is, what's going on inside, how to fix that sort of thing in a pinch, and what parts to buy to swap in if you're looking to fix it. You see, a lot of folks ask us about doing durability tests. Yeah, you measured this tool's performance. That doesn't impress me much. Which tool is going to last longer? Well, we often test tools when they come out, so that's one limitation. No way to tell you how many years a tool that came out last week is going to live. And two, we think purposely trying to kill tools until one stops working isn't a good stand-in for real-life use anyhow, and probably going to favor a lot of cheap tools with no protections that will happily catch on fire before they stop spinning. But actually using the tools here and during testing, though we try to keep these clean for the limelight, well, we prefer to accidentally break those tools. And when it comes to that, the M182953 has taken the cake in the last year. Some of you have been following along via the comments and our live rankings. It's getting a bit hard to ignore now. And spoiler alert, put your pitchforks away. This isn't a secret hush-hush rollout of a cost-cutting 2767 high torque update. That's basically a death sentence to 90% of the tools. You're unlikely to break one of these in the parking lot of your Home Depot after buying it. But it does, based on reviews, feedback from you guys, and our own filmed long list of deaths now, seem to be an unaddressed design detail that plagues some of these tools, while others have zero issues and happy customers. Let me take you on a brief journey of red impact driver purchases. August 16th, we bought Milwaukee's new M12 and M18 generation impact drivers from Home Depot and test them in a video versus the 2853, their last generation. And the 2953 stopped working for us during testing. Not thermal protection, but dead. A fair amount of testing, sure, but the others fared just fine in this comparison. We called up a Milwaukee service center, was told we couldn't warranty it because it was too new and instead to return it to the store. The store didn't have any more, so they just gave us our money back. After publishing the video, Milwaukee corporate asked us for the tool back to investigate, but we'd already returned it as instructed. That same week, we also bought our second 2953 and shipped it to our friend Jim at Philly Fixed, assuming some more practical in-wood testing would be a better appetite for the tool. And even so, M18 tools, which are known to get pretty hot and go into thermal protection mode, probably something you'd prefer a tool to have as a feature. This one did get smoky at times. Flash forward 8 months or so, I experienced this while using it, not for the channel, but did take a clip.
Got like 15, 20 of these self-tappers in, and now locked up. Not flashing lights. Motor still spins sometimes. Locked up.
So sent that off to warranty as a result, and this wouldn't be the last time for us or for many of you, it appears. We made a community post and only left it up for a day recently asking about any issues you guys have seen with yours and got over 100 comments. Let me be clear, half praising the tool, no problems, from people who use them daily, and half like an AA group working through some things by venting out their sorrows. Here's a few. Sent mine in last week for warranty, roughly 5 months of light to normal use as mechanic. It hit once on a bolt and stopped working. Trigger still made the lights work, but not the motor. Set it down for a while, tried the trigger again while turning the bit by hand, and it let out some smoke from the base of the battery and the tool died completely. And another, while using the paddle bit, something internally bound up and seized the bit holder, would not turn. Something seemed out of place internally, but never took it apart. Hammer spring seems to get stuck sometimes when using it at low RPMs. Mine turned into a vibrator after using 6.0 high output batteries on a paddle bit going through some wood. It's currently being repaired. I'm thinking the assembly welded itself together somehow. I've ruined one and got it warranted. When you hit the trigger, it would still impact and turn, but with no load on it. It made a horrible grinding noise from the gears. Our third 2953 lasted around 4 months. For nearly a week, we've been testing impact driver socket adapters, and we've been using 6 main impact drivers, but 8 to 9 total in a battery of testing multiple examples of each brand adapter we purchased. This puts a lot of use on the impact drivers, but we allow them to cool down for 20 to 30 minutes between brands to make for a fair comparison and top up the batteries. Pardon the autofocus, the camera was stuck in here, not focused on the action, but this is where our third 2953 met its end. Around halfway through that impact adapter testing, was operating like any other run, then just quit. Doesn't matter the battery, doesn't matter if you help the hammer assembly reset and try to help it along, it's all seized inside, just wiggling back and forth. An hour later, same deal, it's not a heat thing, the motor just looks locked up. So we bought another 2953 R4 to complete impact adapter testing. Gotta keep that testing consistent after all, along with a couple batteries in that purchase. Always need a few more of those around here. Not to pile on, but we also go through M18 batteries at a faster rate than any other brand too. The screws pull through and the case sort of cracks in half. No secret to most folks, this sort of thing. We have a few here with hot staple repairs, and this seems to work a treat if you're not in the waiting or repurchasing mood. Would recommend. Anyhow, with our 4th red child now hammering away on some more fodder, I felt it was time we took one of these apart and learned what's going on. The first revelation from this coroner's report was that the motor not bound up in itself at all, happy to spin away into the tens of thousands of RPM. So the answer has to lie in the hammer mechanism or gearbox, as many of you described. And it looks mostly happy inside here, but the hammer should be freely rotating back and forth. The problem appears to stem from, we believe, the ring gear. This tooth here was loose, broken, and stuck out at an angle, not allowing the gears to roll past it. Thought this would basically free it up, but no, there is more broken teeth, lots of fragments and pieces, maybe 3 teeth now in 6 to 8 separate pieces from that ring gear. Hopefully not all of them are this bad, but you can try and clean out those bits and dab a new grease in here and it should free up that movement. Well, the real solve is signing this guy up for a warranty ride, but this may work in a pinch. Recommend you get there fast though after you start seeing issues, as these broken teeth have domino effect, and after putting this one back together, it instantly locked up, and inside we found the planetary gears themselves. One of them was already missing several teeth. The part you'd need is called ML14-30-2810. You can also find these at a similar price on eBay, $50 to $55. This comes with the hammer assembly itself. For some reason, unfortunate, that's no doubt a lot of that pricing. You really need just everything that has gear teeth only. Milwaukee should offer these separately. No doubt they are using just gears to repair these, which again, just send it in for warranty if still covered. In our case, we were looking for an immediate solution. With this many similar failures, we decided to try and glean what little we could from why this happens. Hardness doesn't tell you itself about a material's toughness, but if some gear sets are dropping teeth, well, very high hardness can teach you about maybe what's going on. And that's what we're seeing here, 68.7 HRC on the ring gear. We're talking harder than, well, that's harder than most cobalt drill bits. The planetary gears here are also very hard, upper 50s, yeah. 59 HRC, that's still very hard, like a Japanese chef knife. I'm not going to pretend like I'm usually making these design calls for brands, but typically we see mid 50s on these parts when we've seen them. And when you're taking a tool already this size and making it even shorter, shrinking down the thickness of parts like that ring gear and the planetaries, well, I don't imagine being harder than some CNC cutters is all that advantageous. Man, near 70 HRC, that's harder than the hammer here, which is not usually the case in our experience. It's much thicker and able to handle being that brutally hard without fracturing. Now, we don't think some type of massive recall is in order like the 2767 Rev B change flub, which is why we haven't been in contact with Milwaukee about what we've seen. There's plenty of happy campers out there. It does usually take a fair bit of use to see most of the issues if you do see them. After all, this is what their warranty is for. Have them foot the bill for any places the tool might fall short. But for us, like I'm sure many of you, that equals a lot of downtime we don't have to spare, so we just end up buying another one in the meantime. Going through this warranty process enough times to see 5 of these would be no small ask. And that's right, I did say 5 now just during the making of this video. One feedback from you guys materialized in real life. Thought this picture was going to be a post about my issue, just had a warranty repair for the second time. The lights won't turn off after a few seconds, instead they stay on permanently until the battery drained. And just our luck, our 4th 2953, just purchased this week, experiencing that same issue after using it to test more impact adapters. We got the rough riding little vibraty subject number 3 over here, and the 4th new guy over here can't leave a battery on it, will drain the entire thing like he said. Didn't do this out of the box either. Listen, no tool, especially an impact is perfect. In fact, during the same testing, around 90% of the way through, we had our Harbor Freight Hercules puff out some smoke and smell like it too, like the M18 did when we purchased it. But after, it went from making 190 to 200 foot-pounds in testing to 160 to 170 now, and cuts out from time to time. It happens, and many people often point out when reviewing Harbor Freight tools against the likes of DeWalt or Milwaukee, the price differences for the hidden durability we're not testing. But brushless Hercules and all from Harbor Freight, warranted over the counter, it's an instant replacement. And in that time we've owned a Hercules, we've gone through 3 of these guys. So might direct people to this video in the future when making that argument. It happens to the best of them. Except for the rest of these guys, Metabo HPT Triple Hammer Bolt, Flex, though it did need more cooldown breaks, and even, yes, the Milwaukee M12, unkillable for us so far. So that's our recommendation, or the last 2853 from Milwaukee. That thing has set the standard for a while. We have 3 of them and still have the original one we bought on the channel used all the time. Our impression is, if we had one suggestion with a ring gear and planetaries this thin to fit in such a small tool, a target of perhaps 58 HRC on the ring and 50 on the gears would get the average tool much further in life. It shouldn't see all that much wear being that hard, lending some more ductility to these small mega hard parts wrapped up inside of a tiny impacting jiggle box. At least that's an outsider's perspective. No doubt there's many angles they're considering. We appreciate you joining us. We love tools over here, so I hope videos like these aren't seen as hit pieces and rather taken as us just wanting to see the best for folks when you hand over your dollars and take these things to work. Lots of data and a little experience that hopefully allows those dollars to take you the furthest. Thanks for watching.